Good morning and Jai Hind. Welcome to the daily current affairs and MCQ series. So let's get started. The first article that we are discussing today, that is regarding the India-South Korea bilateral relations and certainly the trade relations exactly on that count. Right. So the Commerce Minister from India and his counterpart from South Korea they just held meetings with each other and multiple issues were discussed. So what becomes important from your prelims perspective is that India-South Korea relations, the bilateral trade agreements which we are trying to sign or which we have already, we are in the process of concluding. So first things, that is, this was the, bilateral trade relations onto which the discussions have been held between India and South Korea. And India has, asked South Korea to give clarity with respect to multiple aspects on the trade relation which we share with South Africa, with South Korea. So, for example, on the export of agricultural products, right, they have sought to expedite the process to export the agricultural products. Apart from that, both the countries, their industries, they had raised some of the concerns. So, regarding those concerns raised by the industries from both the sides, the respective governments, the respective ministries have said that they need to work with a spirit of openness to address these challenges, right? Apart from that, India has also raised specifically, this has been from the side of India that, a demand was raised to expedite the process to facilitate the export of some other agricultural commodities as well, specifically, pomegranate, arils, eggplants, grapes, etc. Right. So that is regarding this particular article. Let's take a question now. So, yes. So, which of the following statements is or are incorrect with respect to India-South Korea trade relations? First, both the countries have set the goal of achieving $100 billion worth trade by 2030. Second, they also agreed to fast-track negotiations to upgrade the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement (CEPA). Right. So what do you think should be the answer here? Only one, only two, both one and two, neither one nor two. You can either pause this video, I'll just take a halt. You can mark your answers in the comment section and make sure that you mark your answers in the comment section, right? Okay, great. So if we talk about the first statement, look here, this statement would have been correct if this 100 would have been 50, right? Because this is not 100 but rather this is 50, that both the countries they have tried to or they're trying to achieve $50 billion worth of trade by the year or before the year 2030. So the first statement hence becomes incorrect, right? Then the second statement, that is they also agreed to fast track negotiations to upgrade the CEPA, that is certainly correct. We have decided to conclude or and upgrade the CEPA at the earliest. So for question number one, your answer will be only one because the first statement is incorrect, right? So for question one, answer will be A. I believe that is clear, right? So moving to the next article. Now this article talks about the agree or the decision by the UNESCO to publish Hindi descriptions of India's World Heritage Site status on its website. So what is important from exam perspective is UNESCO, right? UN and its agencies. Apart from that, what is the status of the Hindi as a language in India, right? So what is the decision here that the the Heritage Center WHC that has agreed or that has that is the body that has taken this decision to publish Hindi descriptions of India's UNESCO World Heritage Sites, right? So the Ministry of External Affairs from India, the MEA, has celebrated the program on the World Hindi Day virtually, right? So certainly we celebrate World Hindi Day every year on the in the month of January itself. So which date do we celebrate it? 10th January, 11th January, or 12th January? Which date is there on which we celebrate World Hindi Day? Please type in the comment section. When you talk about the constitutional provisions, so as per Article 343, the official languages which have been prescribed that also include Hindi with Devanagari as a script, right? So earlier, certainly, there is still the the thing that whether Hindi should be made compulsory or not. But see those things are fine, but still you need to recognize that Hindi plays a greater role as far as the countries and the people are concerned, right? चलिए, so let's move to the question now. हाँ जी, which of the following statements is or are correct with respect to UNESCO? So the first statement reads, UNESCO Cultural World Heritage sites are those sites with unique cultural facets such as monuments, architecture, and paintings. And second, the first sites to be inscripted were Ajanta Caves and Dholavira, Gujarat in 1983. So this is a question that deals with the World Heritage Sites in India specifically as well. So what do you think should be the answer? Only one, only two, both one and two, neither one nor two? I'll just take a halt, or you can pause the video also. Right. So when we talk about the first statement, that is certainly correct. That UNESCO Cultural World Heritage Sites, it can include anything from architectures, from monuments, from paintings, etc. Right. So that is certainly how they have decided, how they have broadened, or they have a very wide ambit as far as the cultural heritage site status is concerned. Right. So the first statement is correct. When you talk about the second statement, then Dholavira was not given a status in 1983, but rather it was off late in the year. Yes, in which year Dholavira was granted the World Heritage Site status? That was, off late only. So mention in the comment section. But your answer for question 2 will be, the correct statement says only one. Right? That is only one. Yes. So right. The Dholavira, it is one of the latest sites to be added to the World Heritage Site list status. Right, that is in 2021 itself, it was added to the WHS site. Fine. Okay, so let's move to the next article now. Right. The next article concerns, the test firing of the naval variant of BrahMos supersonic missile from INS Vishakhapatnam, and it, destroyed its intended target. So that's a feat, that is a success for the development agencies in the country, right? The DRDO. So what becomes important from your prelims perspective is the BrahMos supersonic cruise missile, because questions regarding missile technologies have been asked earlier by the UPSC as well, and this certainly the new variant, that is the extended range C2C variant of the missile, right? So this was the advanced C2C variant that we are talking about here of the BrahMos supersonic missile, and it was tested from the ship that was, included was the INS Vishakhapatnam, right? So what the Navy had, the statement from the Navy said that this is, so this is certification of sort, you can say, of the accuracy of the ship as well, the INS Vishakhapatnam's combat system and armament complex. Apart from that, the missile, when you talk about, it has been designed, it can be launched either ways. It could be a vertical launch as well. It could be a horizontal launch as well, right? And from moving or stationary assets to target both land and sea targets. So you can see that how actually, this is versatile. This is actually a great product that has been designed and tested right now, right? So that is regarding this particular article. So let's move to the question now. Yes. So consider the following statements vis-a-vis the C variant of BrahMos supersonic cruise missile. The first statement reads, the missile can be fired at a speed which is nearly 3 times the speed of sound. Second, BrahMos was deployed by the Navy on its warships first in 2005, and third, it has the capability to hit sea-based targets beyond radar horizon. So what do you think would be the answer here? That is 1 and 2 only, 2 and 3 only, 1, 2 and 3, or 1 and 3. Right. Either you can just pause the video, or I'll give you some time. I'll also halt, and meanwhile you can mention the answers in the comment section. Okay, great. So look, when you talk about the BrahMos supersonic missile that we have just, we have just discussed some of the things regarding that. So certainly it is having the capability of being fired at 3 times the speed of sound. So what exactly is the name that is given? That is certainly you call it Mach, right? MACH. That is how you call or that is how the speed is defined, right? So if we say that this BrahMos supersonic missile, then it is having a speed of 2.8 Mach, right? That is 1 Mach is nearly the 1 Mach is equivalent to the speed of sound. So when we say 2.8 times or 2.8 Mach, that roughly translates to 3 times the speed of sound, right? So the first statement is absolutely fine. It is correct. Then when you talk about the, BrahMos was deployed by the Navy on its warships first in 2005, then yes, that is also factually correct. Then the third statement that it has the capability to hit sea-based targets beyond radar horizon. Yes, that is also one capability, which enhances the operational capability of the missile. So for question number 3, your answer will be C. That is 1, 2, and 3 all are correct, right? So when we talk about exactly this is this is the thing that I was talking about, the 2.8 Mach. That is the speed which the missile is having, right? That is nearly 3 times the speed of the sound, right? And this certainly increases the Navy's capability, right? It certainly increases the capability to engage any target, at a very quick or a very short response, right? And when you talk about BrahMos, then yes, I believe that you must have read it, that which are the agencies that have designed it. So that is certainly BrahMos Airspace, right? So Brahm is this much part is from Brahmaputra, and this MOS, that certainly refers to a river from Russia. Which is that river? Yes, quickly type in the comment section which is that river, because this is a JV, this is a joint venture company that has been set up, by collaboration of DRDO and a Russian entity, right? So that is how the joint name comes into play. That is BrahMos, right? I believe that you will be able to, or you have already typed it in the comment section. Okay, great, great. So that is with respect to this third question regarding BrahMos. So moving to the next article. Now, this article concerns a recent notification or advisory, exactly to be specific, which was issued by the Union Home Ministry. That is the जो केंद्रीय गृह मंत्रालय है उसके द्वारा एक advisory जारी की गई है towards for all the states across the country, asking all the prison authorities that for as far as the transgender prisoners or inmates are concerned, they need to be provided with their separate toilets, and separate facilities, so as to ensure that their dignity as individuals is not compromised, right? So see, right to privacy is, there is a fundamental right, and right to have a dignified life also is a fundamental right under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. So when you talk about Article 21 of the Indian Constitution, that provides the right to dignified life to not just normal genders, but also to the transgenders. And even if you are an inmate, then also you must be given a dignified life, right? So let's take this question, and through that we are going to discuss some of the other things. So what the question reads is, which of the following statements either are correct with respect to the advisory issued by the Union Home Ministry regarding the transgender prisoners? First, it was issued in the light of the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act 2019. Second, the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act came into effect from January 2022. And third, as per the advisory, any physical search of any of a transgender person may be conducted by a person of their preferred gender. Yes. So what do you think should be the answer here? I'll just wait for you to mark your answers. Okay. So the first statement, that is, it was issued in the light of the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act 2019. So is it correct? Is that the relevant statute under the or under the provisions of which the MHA has issued this recent advisory? Yes, that is certainly correct. Why? Because this is the piece of law under which the Union Home Ministry has issued the recent notification or recent advisory. Then when you talk about the second statement, so the particular act that we are talking about, the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights 2019 Act, that was not enforced from January 2022, but rather it was enforced earlier only, right? So this becomes troublesome, and this is incorrect. The second statement is incorrect. Those of you who have marked it, that is absolutely true, right? But I want you to know, I want you to mention, I want you guys to tell me that when did this act come into play? When was this act made effective? Yes. Which was the year? I believe that you will type it in the comment section. That was which was the year when this act was made operational. चलिए ठीक है. Third statement जो है, that is certainly correct. You know that as per this advisory that has been issued, a transgender person, they can, you know, just specify that if you want to physically search them, if you want to physically search a transgender person, then that may be conducted by a person of their preferred gender, or it could be somebody who is from the medical fraternity, you know, the paramedical staff. That could be a person who can be allowed under the recent advisory to physically search the transgender, right? So that is certainly to, you know, ensure that their rights, their dignity is also not violated. So for question number 4, what will be the answer? 1 and 3, that is option A will be the answer. So hopefully I believe that by now you must have typed in the comment section that in which year did the act came into force. So it was with effect from January 2020 itself, right? 2019 was the time when the act was legislated, or when the act was enacted, when the statute was enacted, and in 2020 January itself it was made operational. It was made into it was brought into effect, right? So it provides for, you know, the recognition of the identity of transgender persons, the prohibition against any discrimination against them, including, mind you, in, you know, education. Because see, when you talk about the transgender persons, they certainly face multiple kinds of disabilities in terms of, you know, discrimination that is in education, in health, in their social security facilities, and a host of all other societal measures, including the welfare measures by the government, right? So what right now MHA has done is rather a good step, a step in the right direction as far as, you know, the identity, the dignity, and certainly a respectful life of these people is also concerned, right? So that is with respect to this particular article here, right? So I believe this is clear. Chaliye, great. So that brings us to the last question for the day, that is the location based question. So which of the following statements is or are correct about Namdapha National Park? Hanji. It is located in the state of Arunachal Pradesh. Second, recently the Namdapha Goodness Initiative has been undertaken to promote the value of locally produced goods on the name of this park. And third, the Namdapha flying squirrel is endemic to the park and is critically endangered. Yes, so I would expect that you'll be able to crack this question because recently the Namdapha National Park was in news, right? The articles were there with respect to some, you know, good things being undertaken in that area. So I'll just take a halt here for a few seconds, and until then you can mark your answers. So what do you think should be the answer? 1, 2 and 3, 1 and 3, 2 and 3, or just 1 and 2? Yes, please make sure that I'll be watching that who all are making or who all are commenting the answers in the comment section, right? Because just because, see, it has to be at the end of the day, you should be benefiting from it, and it should be an interactive session. Okay, great. So the first statement certainly, yeah, exactly, that is, you know, the state of Arunachal Pradesh only where the park is located. So that is true. It is northeastern state of Arunachal Pradesh, right? And recently the Namdapha Goodness Initiative was undertaken in the or by on the name of the iconic Namdapha National Park, right? So in that, what the government or what they are trying to do is that they are trying to promote locally made products, right? So that is going to have an impact on the socio-economic life of the people who are residing there. So the second statement is also true. Then the last statement is the Namdapha flying squirrel. Yes, is it an endemic species to the park? Yes, it is. Is it critically endangered? Yes, as per the latest available information, it is critically endangered. So for question number 5, what should be the answer? A. That is 1, 2, and 3. All these statements are correct. Right. So let's quickly take a look at the map. That is this area here. When you take a look at this area which is marked as 2, right? So this is the Namdapha National Park, which is mentioned here in this map here itself. Right, the wildlife protected areas in the state of Arunachal Pradesh. The index you can see here, the Namdapha National Park, and this is the area which marks to or which corresponds to number 2. Right. In another map, this is here precisely. You'll be able to make it out even more clear that this is the Namdapha National Park area in the state of Arunachal Pradesh. Right, and here you can also see the Kamlang, the Anjaw, then Namdapha Forest Division, Nampong Forest Division, and all the adjacent areas as well, right? So that is with respect to the Namdapha National Park in the state of Arunachal Pradesh, right? So that brings us to the end of this session. I believe that you all guys will cooperate until we are, conducting the sessions in a recorded mode, and hopefully we'll be able to join very soon in a live mode. So until then, all of you, as I always say, follow COVID appropriate behavior, right? The cases are still rising and the threat is very much in the air, right? So stay safe, study well, and wishing you, it's Lodi today, so a very happy Lodi to all of you, to your families, and may you all realize your goals, whatever you wish to and whatever you aspire for, right? So on that count, thank you so much. Jai Hind, and I'll see you.